Hola, buenas noches. Bienvenidos. Welcome to En Casa con la Plaza. My name is Abelardo de la Peña Jr. I'm the Director of Marketing and Communications at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes. La Plaza de En Casa con la Plaza is our virtual program from our home to yours. I'm in my casita, and I hope you're comfortable in yours on this really chilly Thursday night and first day of December. The year went by like this. Anyway, thanks to our sponsors, Kaiser Permanente and Union Pacific Foundation, for making this all possible. If you're on Zoom, you have the chat feature. You could ask questions, you can make comments, say hi to the guests, our guest, including, and don't forget Dan. If you're on Facebook, you could do the same. Use the comment feature to make comments, ask questions, say hi. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be holding the questions till the end, but hey, let's get started now. A little bit of what's going on at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes. First day of December, we've decorated our museum and cultural center. Check out Calle Principal, our windows. We're getting all festive. Our tiendita at La Plaza Cocina is open. Our tienda for your gift shopping. We got a lot going on. You could check all of it out at our website at lapca.org and also on our Facebook page here, this one, La Plaza LA, and also our Twitter and Instagram. Anyway, but just one thing, we just opened up at La Plaza Cocina an incredible exhibition called The Legacy of Cacao, which tracks the history of the food of the gods, chocolate. We're having an open house this Saturday from 12 to 4. Free of charge. Come on, enjoy some chocolate, enjoy some conchas. It'll be fun. So that's this Saturday, the open house for the Legacy of Cacao. Okay, I'm going to stop talking, or I'm going to introduce our guest, our host, Dan Guerrero. Please zoom in, Dan.
I always enjoy your little talks. I never know where you're going, but you get there, and it's great.
Eventually.
Yeah. Hey, we could use some chocolate. I was in Palm Springs a couple of days. When I left, it was lovely. I come back yesterday. It's winter overnight.
Pretty much, cold. Yeah. Oh no, we got I was looking at the clouds. I think it starts raining sometime tomorrow or
late tonight. They said late tonight and scattered. So, they always say, and then we get two little gotitas, boom, and it's over. So who knows? But the holidays are fast approaching.
Yes, they are. And are you ready, Dan?
And what?
Are you ready?
No.
Okay, all right. No,
but I've started. I'm having 15 cousins, Guerrero cousins. They're not all cousins. It's like 7, 8, and their spouses over the holidays. So I have to get serious about that. But I'm smart. I don't cook. I have. In fact, Willie Loya. You know Willie.
Oh yes.
He's also an incredible chef. In addition to, so he's making an entire Cuban feast. Because I said, we don't have to have tamales every Christmas. So, but I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready slowly. And the museum is getting ready. You already have you have 2 weeks off. The museum's going to be closed, right?
That's right. We'll be open from now until, from Wednesday to Sunday until the 23rd. And then starting Christmas Eve on the 24th, we'll be closed for a couple of weeks and reopening the museum on January 9th. It's been quite a year, so I think we all deserve a little break. So,
well, you're such a small staff and you do such big jobs. I assume you'll all be at the Betty Ford Center during those 2 weeks, right? Recouping and getting ready.
Well, we'll be in the rooms across from you, I suppose.
Yeah, I'll be in the next room. I'll be in the next room, the economy suite. All right, let's have you go away so we can bring on. I'm so excited about this guest. I'm excited about all my guests, but this is a very special lady, very loved in our community. Oh, he's gone. Oh, okay. Hello. I will introduce her actually with a quote and how she describes herself. She describes herself as a Chicana Artivista, musician, feminist music theorist, academic, mother, sister, daughter of the world. Now tell me you don't want to talk to this woman. Zoom in, Martha Gonzalez.
Hola.
Hey,
Hi, Dan. How you doing?
you look beautiful. You look
Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's a real honor to be in the space with you. I am a huge fan of your father, rest in peace,
Oh, thank
and of yourself as well. Thank you for all the work that you do in our community and the entire family, really, the entire family. And so I just want to say thank you for the invitation.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So I will say to you, welcome to the happy hour. What you got beverage there?
I have chamomile tea con piquete,
Ay, lo mejor.
a little bit of rum in it.
How can that be bad? How can that be bad?
Right? Yeah. Salud, salud.
Salud, mija. Salud. I was a few years ago, I was in Dublin, and as the Irish are, not unlike the Nuestra Raza, we'd be walking. Wait a minute. No, put that away. That's not supposed to be there. Wow.
It's
Somebody
okay.
else is having
Not yet.
rum. I was in Dublin, and like us, it'd be 10 in the morning, and my host would say, let's go into the pub. And I'd go, it's 10 a.m., honey. But it was cold, and they did a port drink. They'd warmed the port, and then I think a club soda, no sé qué, a couple of them, but it was delicious, and it kept you toasty.
Yeah. The other day, a friend of mine, she treated me to a hot toddy.
Oh yeah, yes,
Yeah.
that's good too. Oh, there's all kinds of ways to get buzzed, and we like them all.
Yeah.
So I have, I love that word, Artivista. What a beautiful word, sounding, and certainly its meaning, right?
Yes, absolutely. So for me, an artivista is different than just saying you're an artist activist. For my generation in the mid to late 90s, and the ways in which we were inspired by the Zapatistas and how they challenged us, the Zapatista philosophy and way of life, and ways in which they were fighting for their way of life and living and self-determination, really got us thinking about how we were using our art and music, and that it really wasn't about that we needed to think beyond our own careers as well, and what we could do as artist activists, right? Because at the end of the day, when you're an artist activist, you are one more commodity, right, out there. You buy or you sell. Like music in that way isn't always, you don't always have to sell or buy music. That I think that with our skill sets, they challenged us to think about music as in other ways, right? So one of the things that we do as artivistas is really think about the ways in which we can use our skill sets to create culture around process, right? So thinking about music and the ways in which we can bring it back into communities and engage communities in an actual process. So it's not just about, for artivistas, it's not just about using our skill sets as messaging tools in our music, right? There's nothing new. That's an artist activist, but as an artivista, we're also finding ways of creating process-based work where we can include communities in these in music, art, and culture.
Which brings me, okay, thank you for being with me tonight. I mean, that was fantastic. I'm done. I'm good.
Sorry, I know it's super. I'm trying not to be super long-winded. I apologize.
No. Talk. And como te dije, we don't have a hard out. Eddie almost did 90 minutes, so I'm sure you can beat Eddie. Right? But interesting what you just said, because, well, first of all, Quetzal, the music group came out of that same era for that same reason, and Quetzal, who is also your husband as well as the band, he'll be here in a little while too, so you'll get to see him.
Yeah.
Pero mija, what you just said really is exactly in a quote that I just love from you as well. And you said music and the power, and that's the word, music and the power it invokes is at the heart of my practice as a Chicana musician, scholar, and activist. And music, or any of the arts, whether a dance piece, a written word, I mean, there is power in that.
Absolutely. I mean, there's power for us as artists, right? When we're on a stage and we are sharing for people our music, our lyricism, if it touches people, que bonito, you know, like it's beautiful, it's inspirational to us. Folks come up to us all the time and say, I love this song, I love that song, I love the lyrics here. I mean, you know, it's very gratifying as an artist to have people appreciate your music, right? But then there's also this other side of music that we know that when it happens in community in a participatory way, right? Like, so for example, the Fandango community that we're so involved in, right? How we're a part of a greater community that's transnational, that's all over the nation now, Fandango communities all over the nation. And then of course, Fandango communities in the Southwest, you know, belonging to these communities and participating with others in music is also really inspiring and transformational for us, right? To have experienced this in community was just completely even assured us even more so that music is powerful, you know, and that we all have the capacity to be creative and to have creative hearts and minds, and those things not only keep us together as community, but also build the kind of critical consciousness, like the ways in which we being and making music with others, it really gets people talking about other things beyond just the music making practice. And being in community with others is just, you know, it fortifies our culture, our, you know, memory, value systems, right? It's just a beautiful thing. And that's something that we're not just our own careers, right? We're also invested in spending time teaching the practice, doing collective songwriting workshops, for example, as well. Again, using our skill sets to bring others into the music making process. Like, so finding other ways of living and being in life and through music, right? Just finding different ways to implement this practice.
There are so many, and that leads, because I wanted to talk about one. You're involved in so many projects, and I know that out of, you brought up Fandango Sin Fronteras. Out of that came Entre Mujeres, which I love. I'm a big Jarocho fan. But as I understand it, you have brought together, you co-founded it with the Chicana Latina musicians here in the US, with the Jarochas from Veracruz, the women musicians of Veracruz. And that whole project is absolutely fascinating. And I want you to please tell us a little bit about it and what it does for the women, what it does for them.
Right. Well, I feel like we do for each other in many ways. One of the things that before this project happened, we had a longstanding relationship, being a part of the same community of fandangueras, right? Of people involved in this participatory music and dance practice native to the state of Veracruz, called the fandango. And the fandango really gives birth to the genre of the son jarocho. And here's a picture of one of the strongest members that have been a part of this project. And you see there Rocio Marron, Anaí Hernandez, Nikki Campbell, Wendy Romero, Laura Rebolloso, Cali Niño, and La Marisol. And this was a kind
powerful women.
Very, very powerful. And we all basically had different moments where we would co-write work together. And part of the urgency of this was for us was the fact that this movement is going on, this fandango movement was going on, right? And this is way back in 2000. The initial inception was in 2005, because that's when my son was born. And then we didn't really release the album, an actual album, till 2012. So it was a long time coming. And you saw in the community of fandangueros, there were always women involved, you know, people that are part of a fandango community, not people just that play son jarocho. There have been women that play son jarocho. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the participatory nature of this practice, which is the fiesta, the community fiesta, right? And so had been a resurgence of this over the years because of the fiesta, and not just because of the son jarocho. We love the son jarocho. We listen to it in recordings, but it's not about that. It's about the fiesta, right? And so there have been so many women that have been involved. And whenever the groups would tour, some of there have been performance groups that are part of these communities, that when they would tour and they'd come to the US, we'd never see the women because they'd stay home and take care of their families, their children, very prescribed gender roles, and that's fine. That's important work. But I also knew that there were a lot of talented mujeres. And so one of them, when I was pregnant, came to the US and spent time with me, and we co-wrote some songs. And after that, we'd never finished because I had Sandino, and then motherhood happens. And motherhood happens. And so then I realized that, when she came, she said, Marta, we need to keep writing. And so then, this snowballed. And at some point I applied for a Fulbright Garcia Robles Fellowship, which I got. I simultaneously applied for to grad school, and I was allowed in there as well. But I deferred grad school in order to do this Fulbright in Veracruz, Jalapa, Mexico, in order to finish this project. And while I was in Jalapa, I pulled on all of these other mujeres that are part of this community that I've known for a long time. And then we just created all of these songs that we didn't finish. So when I came back home, I started plugging in all of the mujeres here, Chicanas, Latinas, that know about Fandango or are also part of the same community, or if not, either way, they were songwriters and they wanted to be a part of this project. And so it was a beautiful project that we ended up finishing thanks to a crowdsource funding.
Crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
And as I understand it, the women in Veracruz, and I guess the ones here, they'll get inexpensive recording equipment, and they'll write songs as they're going about their day. They're doing the laundry, they're doing whatever, and they're creating and writing songs that I guess became the CD.
Well, what happened is that I had the recording equipment in my home, and I would invite them to come over to rehearse or to try to work something out. And we, to my partner Quetzal Flores's urging, he's like, you need to record every single jam session because you may not get them again because it was always, their schedules were always, they were moms. They had other things, they had jobs. I was there to just write music. Lucky me, right? But they didn't have that kind of time. And so I realized okay, and they knew this. And so we would just record. The kitchen was there and we would just start recording these songs, and whatever we didn't finish, we would finish later on. And so anyhow, so the portable recording equipment was really important to the project because whatever we didn't finish in Veracruz, we finished in Los Angeles with other mujeres there.
And the CD was available at one time. Is it still out there?
Yeah, it is. Actually, I have a bunch of them here, but we're also on Spotify. And so, so many things are on Spotify, and
What is it called? What's the name of the CD?
Called Entre Mujeres, Women Making Music Across Borders.
Order it. I'm going to.
Yeah, I'll send you one, Dan. I'll send you one.
Okay, I'll email you my address. I'd love to have one. There's so much to cover. Oh my God, we could do a Martha mini series, pero we're just going to touch on certain things, and let's go back to the very beginning, how this all came about, which is you were born and raised here in LA, Boyle Heights, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
And your parents had immigrated from Guadalajara.
That's right.
You have siblings. And as I understand it, you were musically and artistically inclined as you left the womb. I mean, it was really early for you, ¿verdad?
Yeah. I mean, music was always in our home. My mom used to love to always sing to us. We knew a lot of, bedtime songs, lullabies, all in Spanish. And we grew up with listening to Cri Cri. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yes.
Yeah, Libertad Lamarque. They were all beautiful singers. And then my dad was a ranchera singer. He wanted to be a famous ranchera, like Javier Solis or Jorge Negrete, all of these great crooners of his time. And that was his dream. He wanted to be a singer. So he would always sing around the house. He had a piano. He had bought a piano that he didn't know how to play. He had a guitar he didn't know how to play. So it's just being in proximity to music made him very happy. And so he would, as soon as he figured out that my brother, Gabriel Gonzalez, who has a wonderful band called La Verdad, by the way. Right. Yeah. As soon as he figured out that he had musical abilities, he started kind of redirecting his dream towards my brother. And that is just, from then on, we were always a part of like music and ranchera singing and songs and harmonizing. It was just part of our household.
Wow, it's like Linda Ronstadt, the whole family. And she says, you know, it doesn't mean you're going to become a professional. You don't even have to sing well or play the instrument well. Just have music all the time.
That's right. That's right. And it really was a part of who we are. When we're all home together, we are crazy. It's super loud and we're always singing, dancing, laughing. It's just part of it. You know, our early childhood was kind of rough. My dad unfortunately was a alcoholic and it got kind of crazy there at the end. And but we always had music to sort of bring us out of things when we were sad, when we were, you know, when we were happy, when we were, you know, just trying to forget. And, you know,
Sure.
music was always that healing tool, the cathartic tool.
Absolutely. That's the right word, healing. But you also were smart and said, give me some money, and did commercials. I love this photo of you with Menudo. Do we have this here? Look at that.
You asked for the kid stuff. Okay.
I love it. I love it. And you know, you have the same face. I would have recognized you then.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because when my dad left, he left when we were 11, because he was kind of on and off. Their relationship was really, you know, it was just crazy. And so finally my mom was like, okay, that's it. I was 11 and he left for good. And you know, he basically, like a lot of dads, unfortunately, like never looked back, never gave money,
Wow.
never worried about my mom and her 4 kids, you know, which are his kids. And so we were like really strapped for cash. And my mom is an amazing genius. She knew how to move money around. She would borrow from one person and was on welfare for a long time, of course, and really wasn't buying into the fact that, okay, I got to go and she was able to do this where she was like, I don't want anybody else raising you guys. I'm going to try to work the system as long as I can so that I can raise you. And no quiero que se hagan cholas, cholos, you know, all of that. So not get pregnant, all that stuff, right? Like, you know how moms are sometimes, but she really made sure that she was the one raising us at all time until the very end when she started the cosmetology license. But anyhow, but during that time, I remember we're in Lorena Street School, and there was a Greek American teacher. Her name was Miss Stringos, and she knew Spanish. She knew all the dances in the region of Mexico. She was a folklorico dancer, and then she started teaching us all of these songs. And she would have these variety shows at the school. And one day, this agent showed up at the school, and he wanted to represent us. So we started going out on these calls for television. And so we were actually, I didn't send you this picture. We can maybe look it up one day, but we started doing a lot of television work. So do you know Paul Rodriguez?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You know his first TV show, it's called AKA Pablo. Do you remember?
Correct.
Okay. I was myself and my sister were one of those kids.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh,
I should have pulled that up from the internet, and sent it to you. But we were one of those kids. We were the children of his sister in that TV show. I mean, we met B. Arthur, you know, all of these, Katy Jurado was in it, you know, and so we did a lot of television work. Gabriel did a lot of, and that's what kind of kept us afloat. As soon as he left, it seems like the gods paid attention to the fact that we were really struggling, and we started auditioning. Yeah, we started auditioning and getting all of this TV work. So I did a Pepsi commercial with Menudo, Sunshine Cookie commercial, a McDonald's commercials, all of these, you know, gigs that with residuals and all of this stuff would get us a lot of money, you know.
And in those days you could make money off commercials. Today is not the same, but in those days, man, you could make some cash.
That's right. And we did. It really kept us afloat. My brother got a lot of work, and my mom was able to stay with us because we were able to sustain the family for a while. And so some of my nieces and nephews are still doing television work. My brother's kids, and as well as my brother, he's always working, doing a lot of television and commercial work and print work. And my niece, Annie Gonzalez, it was on Gentified. His daughter was on Gentified. It's like, I mean, it's gone on in the family. Like we continue to.
You're a showbiz family. You're a showbiz family.
We're a Chicano showbiz family. We're crazy. So
you're the Chicano Von Traps. I know your brother Gabriel Gonzalez. I know Gabriel.
Yes,
He's
yeah.
a great, great guy. There's a beautiful photo. It's not from those days, but I think it was from a fairly recent Mother's Day. I love this photo. Is that
Yeah.
your mom in the top center?
Yes, that's her. That's my mom.
You look just like her.
Right? Oh my God.
Yes.
Everybody says that.
Even upside down, I can tell you, you look like her.
Yeah, my sisters are there, and one of my sister's kids, Sandino's there, my brother, his wife, and the two of his kids. Yeah.
That's a great photo. You should put that on a t-shirt. I love that photo.
That was a fun photo.
I think this is a good time to toast you on your MacArthur Foundation. Oh my God, the fellow. That's huge. Here's to you, Mija.
Thank you so much.
That is incredible. The MacArthur Foundation Fellowship is informally known as the Genius Grant. And the website puts it this way with regard to you. The foundation, it reads, a fitting recognition not only of her genius, but of the effectiveness of her work. That must make you feel all warm inside, right?
Well, okay, there are mixed feelings about it, okay? And I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
I'm very happy. Hell yeah, I'll take that money, right? but so much of the work that I do is collective, right? So it's about like building community out, and it's not just about me, and that part felt really like, wait, and the person who's been by my side not by my side, but we've been walking hand in hand, codo a codo, is Quetzal Flores and myself.
Sure.
Sort of like that was also very, it felt like, oh man. And I remember asking them, like, is there any way I can, it could be this, and they were like, no, it's just it's about the work and the scholarship and the this, and I got it. I saw the thread, but yeah, it's been a little, that was a little hard to to just think about, but then
I understand what you're saying. You wanted to share that you hadn't done it alone, but you know what? Don't tell them. Don't tell anyone you got it. Calladita.
Right, y luego, and then I thought about it, y luego se me pasó,
Yeah. And you can continue your work. You can continue it till you're a viejita. And you also, forget this, United States Artist Fellow, a Fulbright Garcia Robles Scholar, a Ford Foundation Dissertation Fellow. It'd be ridiculous to say, how did you feel? Well, obviously I was happy, although this had mixed feelings. But at the same time, there must be some kind of, I would think, validation or recognition. And you don't do it for that, but it's nice to be recognized.
Absolutely. I mean, we all have, I work really hard. I feel like what I talk about and what I write about, I think is really important. And I want people to recognize, like, and I talk about a greater community, right? Me and my experience in a greater community and how important it is what we do, and get people to try to think about music differently and all of these things. Like, yes, it's so gratifying. And I'm very proud of the fact that I've been a part of so much, and as we read all of those grants and successes, I always remind my students, like, look, this is like whenever I do a talk somewhere and, they read off my bio, right? Which of course I help formulate, right? You have to talk about yourself in a certain way in the academy, right? Because what we learn in our home is to be humble and to be grateful and humble and not be a presumida and like stuff like that, right? But I tell my students, but when you're in academia and in a very white supremacist, white-centered place, like, you better come with it. Like, this is not the time to be humble. And so my bio reflects that, right? And so, but when I'm feeling a safe place and a safe space, and I talk to my students and I say, look, I said, I've also failed just as much, and I haven't gotten so many grants before this. So it's not just about the successes, right? Some of what you're not going to read in a bio is all the times that you failed, all the times that you didn't get the grants that you wanted or that you could have used, right? But nevertheless, I've been very blessed, and I feel so grateful to the gods, to whatever my guardian angel, which I always feel has been my abuelita that I never met, that my mother lost when she was 4 years old. All of that suffering and you know, loss in early on in the family. I feel like I've been blessed by those ancestors that keep watch over me.
I have an abuelita guardian angel too, who I never met. My mother's mother died when I was 2 weeks old. But
Oh,
my mother just revered her mother, and I grew up hearing all about Fermina Corral Marmion. My mother's father was Irish American, and she had a Mexican-born mother from Durango, and so I felt I knew her just from the stories and what she was. She apparently was a very spiritual lady. All those abuelitas they were dealing with the herbs and the plants, and oh, when the star goes there, she's going to have her baby. And it's not bull. They really knew the deal, right?
absolutely. They were connected to the earth and to
Yes.
themselves and to this their faith, or their la fe que tenían, you know, was so strong. And I feel like over the years, although our early childhood was really turbulent, over the years I've learned to sort of always say, to write down all of the things that I wanted. And I say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to finish here. And I write it down. It's the first page in my journal. I've journaled for years now, over 25 years, and I've kept it up, you know, and it has been so useful for me because I get to look back and say, oh shit, everything on this list I've accomplished in some way.
Visualization.
Yes, you know who used to do that? Also the famous African American writer who
August Wilson. No, playwright or
no, she's a sci-fi writer, Octavia Butler. No, Octavia, not Octavia Butler. It's it'll come to me. I'm sorry. Yeah, she wrote Parable of the Sower, and I'll look it up right now. Anyhow, but she's an amazing, and she used to write and recently they had an exhibit of hers at the Huntington Library, and they had a libreta of her.
Oh, I read about that. Yeah, but I don't remember the name either.
Oh, that's right. Abelardo says it's Octavia Butler. Yes.
Oh, it is.
Yes, it
See,
is.
Abelardo, thanks. See, he's wide awake. I'm proud of you, Abelardo.
And she's from Pasadena. She's from Pasadena. She went to PCC, which is a junior college I went to.
That's a great school.
Yes,
That's a great school.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's a wonderful school. I did a couple of
talks there, and I remember I was so impressed with the student body and with their curriculum. That's a very, very cool school.
Yeah.
What do I want to talk about next? Oh, I want to talk about your zapateado shoes and your tarima, your stomp box, being at the American History, National Museum of American History. Forget the red ruby slippers. Your zapateado shoes are there. That's huge. That's huge, right? American history. American history, not Chicano history, not American history.
I was really like, wow, surprised. I was asked. It's One Voice, I forget the name of the exhibit, but it's on permanent display. They're on permanent display, and I was really humbled and that I was asked to donate something. Wow. And just that in that month, I decided to retire my shoes. Which retired for me meant like, oh, I don't throw them away because I feel like they have too much personality and history. Yeah. Like I can't throw them away. I feel too grateful to them. Like they've done a service, and now, aunque ya no sirven, you know, I keep them. I have a lot of shoes, but those were my favorite because they have square-toed fronts, and those are easier to dance in, and they were just cracking. And so I said, well, I have these shoes, and I have an old stomp box that I have there, and she's like, that's perfect. Oh my, can I see it? And so the exhibit person looked at it. She's like, this is perfect. I would love, can you write something about this? So I also wrote a write-up about it and what the box had been through, and as well as the shoes.
Oh, that's fantastic. And it's in a permanent exhibit there. Okay, yes. I'm going to check it out next time. So now, in terms of your academic, and we have a photo of you here being very official, looking at a chalkboard or blackboard. You hold a PhD in gender, women, and sexuality studies from the University of Washington, and a BA in ethnomusicology from UCLA. And I know you joined the faculty of Scripps College in 2013. Tell me about, you know, I hate if people say, what do you prefer? Do you prefer teaching or do you prefer performing? That's just a stupid question. But I will put it this way. Both are performances, really.
That's right. I was going to say
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell me the similarities or what works with those two seemingly different worlds. I mean, because you're educating when you're performing on stage también. So I don't think they're such far distant cousins.
You know, I as I came into the academy, I remember thinking to myself, what if I don't like it? You know, what if and I remember telling my husband, Quetzal, I was like, what if I start teaching and I did all this work and then I hate it? What if that happens, you know? And he's like, well, that's okay. Well, you'll figure something else out. And so, but I ended up really liking it because I love music and I love any aspect of music. I love to talk about music, what's in it, the culture. Like I love to read about how other people talk about music. I love to study. I love I love to read about the deconstruction of power and race and gender, class, sexuality, all the way in which the world works, how it's been designed, and how there
And
are
ever changing.
yes, how it's designed and how there are so many people that are confronting it and challenging it as well, right? All of these different creative ways, and so I'm totally in it. And as I started teaching, I realized like it is a lot like performing. You are up there. I don't like to lecture a lot anymore. At first I used to, and I think part of it was just me showing that I know, I've studied, I know this, I know. And then I realized, Marta, it's not about that. Like you have to bring it again. The participatory nature of music and the communities that I'm a part of made me realize like it's not about me. It's about what they're getting out of the reading. You assign the reading, you lay the table out, and then they get to eat from what they like, what they don't like, and then they have to tell me what they think. So I have my students really run the classroom, and they're so much smarter than I am. They're amazing. The students are amazing. I've learned things about reading, some of the readings that I was like, oh shit, I never would have thought about that, you know. So my classroom is really, I don't stand up there and lecture very much unless I feel like they missed the mark on something. And I say, okay, I want to make sure we drive this point home here. And then I'll lecture on something, you know, but it's very short. And then I leave the classroom up to them. I was like, okay, who's next? And they facilitate the readings. And so anyhow, I just wanted to say that. Yeah, but besides that, in faculty meetings, you know, where I don't feel very safe sometimes, with the exception of my department in the Intercollegiate Chicano Latino Studies department, they're amazing. They're like family. They've always been really supportive, but I've been in other spaces that I don't feel so welcoming.
Yes, of course.
Where I feel like I have to perform a certain way so that, you know, and speak a certain way because I feel like they don't always give me the benefit of the doubt at first, right? Sometimes I was, you know, I've been called by some people in the academy like, oh, you're so articulate. That's totally racist, you know? I'm like, well,
and if you call them on it, they would say, I'm not racist. I was giving you a compliment.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you think, idiota? I have the same, preparation that you have. Like, why would you call me that, right? So to me, it's like, those are the kinds of like microaggressions I've experienced. There have been many. And sometimes I feel like they're very innocent, right? But yet they don't think about what they're saying. And right. And so I have to, you know, sometimes you do have to perform a certain role and assert yourself in a certain way. And so now I feel like I really for many years now, I feel like I really have nothing to prove. I don't care what, you know, what they think of me or what they, you know, I think that now y aunque no me reconozcan, and even if they don't recognize the work that we do and they think it's valuable, I really don't care. I'm creating a space and I'm a part of many communities on campus where we create spaces of possibility and resistance. So
that's a good place to be where you are now, ¿verdad? Because, you know, even if you call those people on that, they wouldn't understand it. You're not going to change their mind. And even though it's innocent, it's still hurtful and it's stupid. But you can't you just can't fight one-on-one and one-on-one. You're fighting and building in your way.
That's right. That's right. And I'm not here to convince them in any way. I'm here to serve like my community, to expose the students that are also feel isolated and feel, like that college isn't theirs, right? That these spaces are intimidating, or they're racist, right? And I try to create a safe place in my classroom for my students to feel like they can speak their minds and challenge the system in ways that they're just amazing. All of the students that I've had over the years have challenged me in so many ways. I've learned so much from the young people that are coming up and how they're going to change the world. And I feel very privileged to be, in their orbit.
They're very inspiring. There's, when I was traveling with my show, I did lots of universities and meeting all these young Latinos, and they feel empowered and pissed off, and they're very inspiring, and you're right, that safe space that you're giving, because they're encountering the very same things you're talking about having encountered. They're dealing with them every day también.
Absolutely. And, and I used to think that I had an opportunity to teach at a different college when I got this job offer, and I'd been at other colleges doing job talks, and I was about to be at a different college that had a very different demographic. And I remember waiting to hear from them. I'm not going to say who it is, but waiting to hear from them, and they never didn't get back to me on time because I was, at Scripps. But I'm glad I ended up at Scripps, because they really understood, especially that department. The department I'm a part of really understood who I was, and they said, "Go ahead and create your classes, do your thing." And I, at first, that was really daunting, but then I realized, like, oh, okay. And so I thought I wouldn't get Black and brown students, but because of my last name, they come and find me, right? I have so many Chicano, Latino students, Black and brown students that find me because they want to feel connected to something or to somebody like them, right? With my experience, and most often we all have the same experience, and of course, and we just empower each other. They can come to me and they cry, they are angry, they need support, they need letters, they need, and that's what I'm there for. And I make them to, like, you can do it, you can do it, let's find this, let's do that, and it's great. And I get a lot of students, yes, it's predominantly a white institution, but most institutions are very predominantly white.
Of course.
Right? So, yeah.
And se me fue. I had something really pithy to say, and it went.
Martini. It's the martini.
I don't know, what was I going to say? It was something really good. Damn.
Dan, it's a martini. Ya ves? No more martinis for you.
If I take a sip, it'll come back to me.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, well. I know. It worked. I'm saying that because you are a performer and a singer and a musician, you bring something different to the classroom from that someone who's strictly academic, and they're teaching you from what they've read and learned. I'm not putting down academics. Don't be writing me letters. But you know what I'm saying? You're serving it in a very different way that is entertaining. And there's no better way to educate than by entertaining, so they don't realize they're being educated.
Yeah, oftentimes, for sure. And I think that I read my student evaluations, and it's funny. It's like, Prof is so passionate, and she's so funny, and she's so this and that, and I learned so much about this and the other. Like, exactly. And yeah, I've gotten a little bit of everything, right? I've gotten also sometimes some students, which are probably some of them have been white, where it's like, I feel like I really can't speak my mind. It's very obvious what Professor Gonzalez's politics stand. I feel like I really can't. And I never say, I'm just, I let my students, so it's really funny, right? Like how they have assumptions about me. And I'm like, you know what, if they feel uncomfortable in one space, which is my classroom, but the rest of the college belongs to them, then ni modo, my classroom is is I really feel like I try to build a sense of community, like where folks feel safe to really like just, you know, it's a cathartic space, it's a brave space, and I feel like, you know, they're the ones that create that energy. And
That's
if
right.
somebody comes in with some negative stuff or trying to say something racist or something, I don't even have to do anything. My students are the ones that are like, actually, you know, and there's great conversations and anyhow. But yeah, like most of the time, like the way they describe my energy or who I am and like how crazy I can be. And of course I bring in a lot of music, right? I make them sing, I make them dance sometimes, I get them up and moving, because I think that learning isn't just about working your intellect, it's also about embodying an actual practice, right? So they understand music differently when they have to sing it themselves, or it has to move through their body in ways that it sort of it reaches and it informs them in other ways, in the corporeal sense.
Let's talk Quetzal. Both your husband and the band and the whole Quetzal mania. Is he floating around there, Mr. Flores? Are you nearby?
Mr. Flores
Look at
is
that.
here.
Is that the box and the shoes? One like it, I guess, that went to the museum.
Let me see. Those are actually, yeah, those are the shoes, but that is not the box. That box was made for me from a wonderful, his name is Bill. He's from the Pacific Northwest.
Oh,
Yeah, and he's a great guy. Bill, Leonard, Bill Leonard. I'm terrible with last names.
come on in. Quetzal,
Let's
she
invite my
needs
media
you.
naranja. Let's invite the media naranja.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
the director of Quetzal, Collective Poder Comunitario, co-founder.
Legend, young legends, you know, you don't have to be 127 to be a legend, you know. Tell us about Quetzal, how it started, because it did come out of that very tumultuous time when the uprisings here in LA and the Chiapas and all that was going on. And that's when you first formed Quetzal, yes?
Yes, that's correct. And there's another piece to the story that's really important, and that is that there was a tiny little cafe in Little Tokyo that became a very important site for Chicanos to convene, to meet, to laugh, to cry, to have mochas and lattes and plan shit. I mean, stuff, sorry. And so it was called Troy Cafe. And this is where the band really has a place to play and doesn't have to struggle and figure out, you know, where is home and how do we build from this point. And it was an incredible foundation to build from. People like Alice Bagg were in the space, people like that.
Yeah. She did the happy hour. She talked about it, right?
Yeah. So and then, you know, many other people, including Culture Clash, including Tito Larriba, including like, I mean, I can just go on and on and on with the people that were in that space and how affirming it was to be able to be held and to emerge while being held in a space like that.
A safe space,
And an insane space.
We like that. We like that. I'm all for insanity. I signed up right away for insanity. It's the best. Now, when did Martha come into the picture? Did you already know each other, or how did you two?
Yet I was looking for the original singer. She decided to go to grad school, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And so I was looking for another singer, and so at the time, I was studying with Marcos Loya.
Oh, I know Marcos.
Yeah, of course. And you know, Martha mentioned Paul Rodriguez earlier, and they, you know, Marcos was on that show as well. He was the music director.
He was the house band. You know, I produced that show. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that's why you said, you know, Paul Rodriguez. I thought you were joking.
No, I didn't. I mean, I know you probably know each other, of course.
Yeah, no, I produced El Show de Paul Rodriguez en Univision.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so Marcos had a couple of mentees, and another one was a UCLA ethnomusicology student. And so one day we got to talking, and I was like, he's like, "What's going on with the band?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm looking for a singer." And he's like, "I know a really good singer. She goes to UCLA. I'll give you her number." And so I called her up, and then she came over to the house, and we just hit it off. We hit it off, and it was like, you want me to sing what? Oh, all right.
Okay, I have to say, I thought he needed a background singer because I had seen Quetzal with the original singer at Troy Cafe a year prior, and they're amazing. They were so good. I remember they had a song called Agua de la Manguera, which I was like, that is genius. I love that song and what they were talking about in the community, and I just loved it. And so I thought they needed a background singer. I used to sing background for all kinds of bands in LA, Toledo, Rhythm Tribe, like all of these different bands in LA. I was a background singer, no problem. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. And so when I met him, he said, "No, I want you to sing the songs. Like, this is our tape. I want you to learn the songs." I was like, "Wait, what happened to the singing?" He was like, no, I think you can do it. And I was like, "Well, I've never done that before. I don't think I can."
Yeah.
Because
Martha's still trying to be a background singer. I keep telling her no. So stop.
Said,
Just stop
stand
it.
out front, girl. Get out front.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And how long before it became romantic?
about 3 months.
No,
Oh my God.
it was longer than
That long. Why were you so slow, Quetzal?
that. It was longer than that. No,
He was trying hard.
no, it wasn't. It
Oh,
wasn't.
you weren't having it. You weren't having it, huh?
So yeah, and so then it became what it became, and then we had to navigate this strange tension between being collaborators and being romantically involved.
It's I would imagine it's complicated. I mean, you live together, you work together, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think we try not to let it spill into the music, but there's been a lot of things that, we've been together since 1995. So 27 years and married 21. Crazy.
And we have a beautiful photo of this happy familia. I love this photo. Look at that.
Oh,
There's your son Sandino.
right? The little mini me over there, Quetzal's
Oh.
mini me. Yes, Sandino is an amazing just musician. His musicality is beyond anything that it's just he surpasses us in every
How
way.
could he miss? Look at his parents. But I was shocked when I saw that photo because this is how I remember him, Abelardo. Look at that.
Oh, yay! That's right. That was at the mission.
Yes, you were doing the show with Rose Portillo, our mutual friend, and I mean this. I remember meeting him, and he was such a little gentleman. He was very polite and well spoken, and I thought, wow, they still do make kids like that because he was so impressive. I was just so impressed with him,
Well,
and he's still a good guy, right?
yes, he's amazing. He's just applying to colleges. We're very proud of him. He was very self-motivated in many ways. We try not to, I mean, college is like a no-brainer. I'm like, just give me a 4-year degree, and after that, do whatever the hell you want, because I'm not gonna not have him go to college. But but he can go wherever he wants so long as he goes, right? And so, but he's been self-motivated and doing its own thing, but he's a great kid. He's a really good kid, very cares about the world, is thinking of ways in which also wants to major in music and thinking about challenging Western pedagogy, so Western music pedagogy, so because he's a piano player, he's a flute player, but he also has grown up in the fandango and world. And so, yeah.
And you're both hoping he goes to school somewhere close, right?
I just want him to be happy.
Yeah.
He will.
I want him to stay here. I do. But he, on his own, honestly, he said, I think I'm going to stay in California. He did apply to one school in New York, but he's going to stay in California. And then for grad school, he said, I'll go away he wants to either go to Australia or go
Wow.
to, I know that's far.
How about the planet Jupiter? I mean,
I know, damn, I know.
University of Jupiter. Gee,
Yeah,
Right?
Australia.
I
that's
know,
hilarious.
to go to Australia, or Germany. He's like, because they have a
Oh,
great
now that's
program there,
interesting.
and it's socialized healthcare, and
Yeah.
like, I'm like, I know.
Quetzal, tell me what's the future? What are you all planning to do soon or down the road, or what's, because it's such a fantastic group, so well loved and popular. Where do you see it all going? How do you see it evolving or changing, if at all?
Yeah, well, this next year is the 30-year anniversary of the band.
Wow.
Yeah, it's 30 years. I can't believe it. I remember when Los Lobos had their 30 years, and I was like, that's a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're still talking to each other.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so a couple of things are happening, amazing things. So we're going to do that 30-year anniversary show here in LA somewhere. We're going to, there's going to be some recordings as well that go with that. We're really excited because at the beginning of the year, we're doing Abelardo saying, do it at La Plaza. At the beginning of the year, the very beginning of the year, we're going to do a project with David Algo, which that's one of our mentors, also one of our idols, really,
Yes.
in music. And like one of our musical parents. And so we're finally going to get to do a project together that is from scratch and just getting into the studio and being creative. And so we're really excited about that one. That's at the beginning of January. We have there's a bunch of stuff happening. We have also a plan to go to La Candelaria, and this is the first time in Veracruz, right, in Tlacotalpan, and this is the first time we'll go and present our music there, which is exciting. And so our last album, Puentes Sonoros, that we released last year, yeah, earlier this year. Yeah.
No, 2020,
No.
at the beginning of the pandemic. No.
No.
Okay.
So
he always knows.
I know. Why am I challenging him? I know.
Let it.
So we're going to go and present it in Tlacotalpan, and the whole album was created out of a trip that the band took to Veracruz and went through the Fandango communities and spent time with different people, different protagonists of the Fandango movement. And so, and then we recorded everything and brought all those soundscapes back and threw them into a computer and listened to them. And then we're inspired to write new pieces in the tradition, mostly. And so that's what Puentes Sonoros is. It's like sonic bridges between these two communities, right? And we continue to have dialogue musically through lyrics and music and melodies. And one of our other teachers, Ramon Gutierrez, who's been a longtime collaborator and a very close friend also, is a part of that as well. And his daughter, Lucia Gutierrez Rebolloso, who just won the Sarah Vaughan International Jazz Vocal Competition, a Mexican from Veracruz, Jalapa, Veracruz. She is a monster, and she sang on that album as well. And we love her, and we're so proud of her.
You have to have her. She's amazing. She speaks, by the way, really great English, and she's and Spanish, and she sings like she has such a gift.
And she's still in Veracruz.
Yes.
She's still in Veracruz.
She's in between right now, so she's gonna move to LA.
Wow, that's incredible.
She wants to land in LA. She's actually finishing up. She's in Mexico City right now, finishing up some music, but she's going to be on tour with Natalia Lafourcade for a while. And at the same time, she's going to be jumping off the tour to do jazz dates in different countries around the world.
Unbelievable. I do want to know about her. That's Sarah Vaughan was my idol. I was casting for a few years way back in the day, and a young woman named Paris, her first name, and she auditioned, and I wanted to call her back. And so I had the phone number, and I called, and I heard a woman go, hello. And I thought, holy shit, it's Sarah Vaughan. The girl's name was Paris Vaughan. So all I heard was hello, and I knew it was Sarah Vaughan. I nearly fainted.
Oh, wow.
I was like, Yeah, is Paris there? I mean, all I heard was hello, because Sarah Vaughan is my absolute favorite.
Oh wow. Lucia as well. She every time when she was growing up, because we've known her since she was like 2 or 3 years old, right? Her parents are mentors. And I remember her when she started, getting into jazz. She's like, mis favoritas. Which ones are they? Pues Sarah Vaughan, she would say,
Yeah.
that's her first off the list, and then of course Ella and like other folks. But
Yeah.
she's just like, yeah.
Marisol is a big Ella fan.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a big. I suspected as much. And a couple of her things, she's suddenly scatting. I'm going, wait a minute, and she said she's a big Ella fan. So then I knew where that came from. Oh
So,
my God.
Speaking of La Marisol, that's another thing that so during the pandemic, we would have something called Jueves de Creación.
Yeah.
And Marisol would come over the house with our bass player Juan, Marta, and myself, and Sandino, sometimes when he wasn't needing to be in school, and we would write together. And so we've written dozens of songs that we are now starting to produce. And as in between like all the other projects where we get together and we start to produce stuff. So they're fabulous songs, and it's all focused around Marisol and Marta and their voices, right? And it's very special to hear them sing together. And they did it on Entre Mujeres, but it's so much more special to see it in this context. And they've also both been part of a poetry workshop called Poetas de la Pandemia. And a master from Veracruz was giving this Zoom workshop. And so La Marisol and Marta were both a part of it. And so that's kind of what started this idea for this project, because everything is written in the versada form, right? They're sticking to what they learned in this workshop. And so it's very beautiful poetry.
But the beauty of all these gifted, talented young, because you're both still young people. I mean, of course, everybody's young to me, but you're still young. So, and to be collaborating with David or with La Marisol and all of you, that is just so beautiful. I just think that is so exciting for all of us. Okay, we could talk for years, but we should get in. I don't know if there's any Q&A go on. Thank you both so much. I thought Sandino might be around. I'd pull him on too, pero next time, tell him he's not, no se va a escapar.
Okay.
Okay. Abelardo, I hear you're related to Martha here through marriage.
We're distant relatives. His cousin Esther is married to my brother Jaime.
That's right. That's right. She's like one of my favorite cousins. I have 2 favorite cousins, and she's one of them. Yes. She's amazing. I love her so much.
Yeah, they've come to family get-togethers there in Wilmington and Wilmas, and always a lot of fun. Always a lot of fun to be with your family. Gabriel, great friend. He's been at La Plaza many times with his band La Verdad. Quetzal is graced our stages as well, and we'll see about that 30th anniversary.
That'd be great. Yeah. And you guys, you have to have Lucia Gutierrez. She's a monster. Yes. I'm telling you, she's just like prolific.
I want to hear her. I want to hear her.
Oh man, you know what? If you go on to the Sarah Vaughan International Jazz competition, there's videos and you can see some of her performance on there. She's just like when she won, I was like, oh, I was crying because I'm like a Mexicana up there, like at the top of she's 21 years old. She's a baby and she's just killing it,
All right, well, send me her contact info. We'll make it happen. Okay, yeah. All right, well, we do have some great comments and questions here. First of all, Angelita Rovero here on Zoom. She says, Marta, true legend of our generation. I'm so inspired by her passion and love for everything she does for our gente. Honored to teach about her music, community activism, artivism, and songwriting to hundreds of students each semester. She is a force to be reckoned with. Muchos besos from Quetzali, Shoko, and myself. Question: how do you find the energy to do so much in the classroom and out?
Hi, Angelita. Oh, I love her. She's amazing, an amazing Chicano studies professor. The energy question, I think that music is generative. And so it really, of course, it does take energy to do, but it always also gives you energy, right? It doesn't really take from you. And what it takes from you is can be cathartic, and like, you just release energy and bad energy, and like, it's like a workout, which you always feel a little tired, but very good and energized. And yeah, music is just generative. And so in any form, whether I'm teaching it, I'm writing about it, or I'm playing it in community or on the stage, I always feel like it gives me something.
Fuel. You get fuel from it.
Yeah.
All right, from Suma Alvarado, also here on Zoom. This Howard Zinn quote reminded me of your work, Marta. Take the trouble to compile a whole new world of documentary material about the lives, desires, and needs of ordinary people. Marta, can you talk a bit about how you approach song and music as a democratized archiving practice that humanizes working people?
Wow.
Pithy.
I know. I think I know who this is. Oh, well, Sumac. Is it Sumac? Anyway, okay. So a good friend. I think that song lyrics have always been important archives to our histories, to our people's history in its time and place. It's been a way in which people have always also, dissected not just our own thoughts and our hopes and aspirations, but also the past. And so, yeah, I think that music in that way, when you do, so for example, we engage in collective songwriting workshops with communities, different community groups at large and behind bars. And so when we do that, we find that people, when they're working together to try to create a song together, a lot of beautiful things are happening. There's a lot of testimonio. People share some of their experiences. Somebody witnesses that experience. They become community. They bond over something, or they have conflicts sometimes. But it's nevertheless always productive, right? It's always productive thinking. It's always ways in which we're coming together in this creative way that I think people are really surprised at the end. When they come up with a song, they're like, wow, we did this together. That was beautiful. That was amazing, and for no other reason than to be together and create and sing together. And folks are always, it just makes you realize that the more we do consensus work, the more we'll be able to solve bigger problems. But if we start this small, just to write a song together, just to think together through some things, I think those are good ways of exercising and practicing for the bigger problems that might come along later.
All right, thank you. From Sylvia Castañeda, just wanted to say felicidades, Profesora G. Enhorabuena. My daughter loved your class. In fact, your class led her to declare Chicanx Latinx studies as a dual major. Mil gracias.
Wow, so cool. I wonder who it is. Which student, our major has really grown. We have amazing professors in I'm in great, I'm like some monsters in my program, people like Gilda Ochoa, Miguel Tinker Sala, Suyapa Portillo, Guadalupe Basios just got tenure. She's a psychologist. Maria Soldatenko just retired, but she's still in the purview. I mean, we have so many amazing, Rita Cano Alcala. I'm blessed to be in a great department, so I'm glad that the student declared.
All right. For Maria Gomez, no question, just a comment. Marta in her field is orchestrating.
Orchestrating, I like that. Yes, orchestrating, finding ways, right, of getting different things to happen. I like that. That's really cool. Thank you, Maria.
Right. And let's see, Angelita Rovero again. For my daughter, Quetzali. Marta, when did you learn to do the zapateado? So amazing. I want to get to know it. I love you and I look up to you. So how did you learn to do the zapateado?
Where, I think that the first time I ever learned was really to begin to do footwork was with Helen Stringos, this Greek American woman that taught us folklorico.
Oh.
And my favorite genres or regions was always Veracruz and Michoacán, like Danza de los Viejitos, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I love that. It was just always my most favorite. And then later in the Fandango community, in learning and knowing that the zapateado and the tarima as a vortex, as the center of the fiesta was extremely important. And then I learned from people like Marta Vega, Marta Utrera, Wendica Romero, Laura Rebolloso, Anaí Hernandez, and just amazing Rubio Ceguera. You know, all of those maestras were my early maestras and continue to be. You know, now there's a whole, even during the pandemic, we had Zoom workshops in dance. And we were able to support a lot of the maestros that came through, and they also gave lectures on the practice, and it's just grown so much. And Zoom has really facilitated ongoing learning, and so I was really glad about that too.
All
It,
right.
it has been. It really, that's the only decent thing that came out of the pandemic is the Zoom, because it's going to live on and it's such a great tool.
That's right. It really is. It doesn't replace the one-on-one for sure, but I
Right.
think that in that crisis, I think it still connected people, and we find a way to come together, which I think just speaks to the resilience, the resilient nature of human beings, and how we need each other in the very depths. You know, we just need each other.
All right. And by the way, Quetzali is 12 years old. And then the daughter who's taking the dual major, her name is Anais Martinez Castañeda.
Yeah, of course. Oh, she's great. Oh, super smart. Amazing.
All right.
Felicidades.
From Yadira Telyache, sorry if I mispronounced that. Marta, any consejos for a Chicana CLS grad student at CSULA who is navigating the complexities and sometimes violence of academic spaces of color?
Ooh, yes.
We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, yeah, these microaggressions are white supremacist, of course, and they don't always come from white bodies. Sometimes they come from brown people, right? Your very own. And those I think those hurt more than if they come from white folk, right? Because you kind of just don't understand, right? Like, it's like, why would you do this to me, right? And I think that some of those people are traumatized themselves and feel like they have to haze you in similar ways. Like, as in, if I had to go through something, you're gonna have to, like, you know, jump through my hoop, or right? And so I feel like what I've seen a lot in academia is people that are deeply traumatized, that don't have other lives, that don't realize that academia isn't everything, that people that don't have communities outside of academia that fulfill them, that check them, that give them love and understanding. And for those people, I would say, Yadira, to have pity on them, you know, and wish them well, and treat them with kindness nevertheless. And you just keep doing your work, keep doing your work, keep doing what you can to build alliances with the people that do see you clearly and that have your best interest and your success in mind. Build those alliances with people, build community out, you know, build community in the academy. But also don't forget that eso es una cosa, it's a kind of labor that is very real, right? Because it has real impact, but it also, like, build community outside of the academy, because that's what keeps you grounded in realizing that this isn't everything, you know. And I feel like that kept having community outside of academia really kept me sane a lot when the shit wasn't going well, you know, or when I felt frustrated and felt like this person was out to get me, or this person, porque sí, hay mucha envidia, you know, as well, right? People are, you know, give you bad reviews, talk shit, block you, you know, chastise you in front of others, try to belittle you. And for me, I was just always like, try to be like the Zen master, the Jedi mind trick. I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna go there with you. I'm not gonna play into your game. I'm not going to do this with you. And in that way, you become untouchable, you know.
And you have to keep going, no matter what. You have to keep going and moving forward.
Yeah.
And as I often say, it doesn't mean it's a straight line. You make a left, you make a right, you go over this boulder, you climb under a bridge, you go through a window, pero you have to keep going and not let anybody stop you.
That's right. I have to say, I dropped out twice from college, you know, and then only to come back at some point because I loved being in school sometimes and learning, and I really had that dream of one day, like, just, you know, I love to teach. I did love to teach. I used to teach elementary school, and I've taught different grade levels. And so and it was, you know, it was just seemed like the natural progression once I became a mom, and like it just, I don't know how it happened, honestly. When I think about it, I'm like, oh my God.
Wait a minute, what happened?
And I wanted kind of like stability, but then I didn't want to move too far away from music. And so it just kind of all worked out. And I don't know how. I sometimes still scratch my head like, wow, like I feel so grateful and blessed. You know, but yes, Yadira, don't give up. Keep going, build alliances with people who are willing to support you, and don't let anybody, you know, sometimes you just have to do a 180 and walk away. Try not to engage in people's dramas when they try to pull you in. Don't get into that shit. Like,
someone may slow you down, but just don't let them stop you.
Exactly.
All right. And Yadira is saying that you taught my partner Arturo and El Sereno.
Oh, wow. Really? Oh my goodness.
All right. Well, thank you for those who joined us on Zoom. Here on Facebook, we had George Mesa joined us.
Oh, George Mesa. We love George.
Roberta Martinez.
We love Roberta.
Yes, we do.
Roberta.
We had with us also Cristina Anguiano, who not only wants to take your class, but also can't wait to hear your new music.
Yay.
We had also Feliz Mujer Oli saying it's a great interview, which it definitely was.
Thank you.
And then Holly Lynn Purser, from Chispa Hills saying fantastic.
It was fantastic. I had a great time. I hope you had a great time, Martha.
I did, Dan. What an honor to be here with you, with both of you. Thank you so much for inviting me. And yeah, I'm gonna keep checking in with you, and I hope that we get to work together again.
That would be a dream. That would be a dream. And you take care. Don't forget my CD. I'll send you my address because I really want to hear it. It interests me.
Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, I will send it to you. It's a beautiful CD. You know, Entre Mujeres there's also a short documentary online, and it's called Con Tanta Luz en la Voz, which means with all the light and it's about the release of the actual project, you know, the inception and then also the release. And so
terrific.
Luz en la Voz.
All right, mija. I love you. Thank you so much. You have a great holliday, huh?
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Bye,
From Facebook here, Mari Riddle, Marta and Quetzal, gracias por todo. Great interview. Thanks, Dan.
Oh, thank you, Mari.
You're a hit. You're a big hit.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Marta. Thank you very much, Dan.
Igualmente. Bye, Abelardo. See you at the next family party.
Yes, indeed. And all of you that joined us tonight on En Casa con la Plaza, Dan Guerrero Happy Hour with Marta Gonzalez. Thank you for joining us tonight. What an incredible interview this was. Conversation. Dan he creates magic when he brings his guests on. Let's see. If you didn't catch this entire conversation, En Casa session, you could catch it. We'll be posting it on our YouTube channel at La Plaza LA, also on our Facebook at La Plaza LA, and also on our website, lapca.org. Dan will be back with us in a couple of weeks with a real special guest, our brand new CEO there at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, Leticia Ree Buckley. So watch out for that and hope you tune in. Also, you could catch all of Dan's happy hours on our website and also on our YouTube channel. And here I'm posting here a link to an earlier appearance by Marta, Quetzal, and Sandino on En Casa con la Plaza a couple years ago as the Quetzal family trio. Well, they'll in conversation and also performance. I think you'll enjoy it. Con eso, let's see, this Saturday at La Plaza Cocina, our brand new museum there on Spring Street, right behind the stage at La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, an open house for our brand new exhibition, The Legacy of Cacao. That's from 10 to 4, no, excuse me, from 12 to 4 at La Plaza Cocina this Saturday. Our co-curators will be there, both Jimena Martin, our Director of Programming and Culinary Arts, and Maite Gomez Rejon, a food historian, a cook, and a great friend. They'll both be there talking about welcoming you to the exhibit. We'll have some chocolate, we'll have some conchas. They'll teach you how to, they'll be demonstrating how to grind cacao nibs on a traditional metate and more. So that's this Saturday. And then while you're there, come on across the street to La Plaza de Cultura y Artes and enjoy our exhibitions, Hostel Terrain 94, Arte para la Gente, the collected works of Margaret Garcia, and then go on over to Olvera Street for some taquitos or some margaritas. All right, hope you enjoyed tonight's program. Thank you for joining us again. Y nos vemos muy pronto. Keep up to date on what's going on at La Plaza at lapca.org or on our Facebook page at La Plaza LA, Instagram at La Plaza LA, Twitter at La Plaza LA, and finally our website, lapca.org. Y con eso, muy buenas noches a todos y nos vemos muy pronto. Hasta la próxima. Bye-bye.